Good morning, Sai Bhaskar.
Good morning.
200 కిలోమీటర్లు ప్రయాణం చేసి వచ్చి కూర్చున్నా.
Oh, good. So, where have you been?
ఊరికి వచ్చిన ఇక్కడ మా అన్న కొడుకుది ఇది ఉంటాయి, అది నడుస్తుంది కానీ ఇక సరే ఒక గంట ఇది చెప్పేసి పోదామని.
Good, good. Yeah.
పొద్దున్న లేచి నిన్న అయింది అంటే కొన్ని డ్రాఫ్ట్ టెక్స్ట్ వచ్చినాయి.
Okay.
అంతే ఎదవలే. ఇది ఇట్లా ఉండనా, ఇది వెనక ఇది వస్తుంది.
It's okay. It's okay.
నువ్వు ఎడిట్ చేస్తావా మళ్ళా?
No problem.
ఇట్లా పెట్టాను.
కొంచెం తిప్పండి, ఆ నాబ్ లేకుండా చూడండి. డోర్ నాబ్ ఏదో ఉంది కదా, అది బెటర్. దిస్ ఇస్ బెటర్. ఓకే, బట్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ ఇన్ ద సెంటర్. దిస్ ఇస్ బెటర్. పర్ఫెక్ట్. ఇంకొంచెం లెఫ్ట్ రండి. సెంటర్. బస్. ఓకే సార్. కంటిన్యూ సార్. ఓకే. ఏం లేదు, పర్ఫెక్ట్.
Okay, good morning. We are starting the 11th update of COP26, which we have been doing every day since 31st October. COP26 at Glasgow is almost coming to an end. I think tomorrow will be the final day. 12th November, of course, they are going to close all negotiations as per plan. Actually, today, 11th November, they are going to finalize most of the draft text. So I think today, by schedule, this is the final day. But anyway, I'll come to more important decisions which were taken yesterday on 10th November. But before that, as usual, yesterday, 10th November was designated as the Transport Day by COP26 President. So this Transport Day, as they intend to, is basically to kickstart a mass market for zero emission vehicles. So they think, according to plan, this will trigger a transition towards, zero emission caused by vehicles as part of the transport. So this global transition is being planned through zero emission vehicles. So on this day, on Transport Day, number of meetings were held. Basically to kickstart some deals and some pacts or agreements. So this the Transport Day is also basically planned to galvanize action to decarbonize the other transport, not only road transport, but also aviation and shipping also is part of the this plan. Now, road transport, as we know, contributes almost 10% of global emissions, and the emissions from this road transport is rising very fast. So, as the number of cars are increasing, number of vehicles are increasing, emissions basically because they use fossil fuels, diesel, petrol. So this, because of this, carbon emissions are increasing. Now, this transition, which is being planned through zero emission vehicles, is a shift. There is a promise that there will be more new jobs, and it will also clean air in the cities. Most of the mega cities all over the world are heavily polluted by vehicular pollution. So I think they expect zero emission vehicles will lead to cleaner air in mega cities. Increasingly, this is also cut the costs of car ownership, which to me looks like a subsidization program for zero emission vehicles. So ultimately, that's what it is looking like. But I know zero emission vehicles plan includes not only cars, but vans, buses, trucks, and lorries. So for towards this, a zero emission vehicle transition council has been created. So at a global level, this transition council has been created. This council is basically bringing together governments so that basically because developed countries. So this all these countries together cover at least half of the global car market. Now, one of the part of this transport day, there was this Clyde Bank declaration. Now, Clyde Bank declaration is again a global initiative within the zero emission shipping mission. So this is more about shipping creating green shipping corridors and decarbonizing shipping routes between two ports. So I think these are the ideas which are coming up, and Clyde Bank declaration tries to encourage governments to support establishment of green shipping corridors. So I think more work needs to be done, but a declaration has been made. I think we'll look at the text once it is released. Now, second initiative we are seeing is with regard to aviation, International Aviation Climate Ambition Coalition is a new group which was formed. Now, this group tries to, kickstart a year of collaboration between governments so that, international aviation missions can be reduced. So a long-term goal of reducing aviation emissions is being planned through this coalition. There is also, accelerating zero emission vehicle transition. So I think ministers, vehicle manufacturers, business leaders, fleet managers, city leaders like mayors, all these people have signed a statement. I think this statement is being pushed through government so that every government will come on board. So I think this transition is being planned very seriously. Now, additionally, road freight, they basically, trucks, lorries, which keep carrying goods. So goods transport. So again, events are being planned and around how, these the emissions from this goods transport can be reduced. So there is a target by 2040. They want to reduce emissions from this sector almost to zero. Now, one of the keys, elements of this 10th November date has been, the expectation that the draft text will be coming up almost to finalize, because as per schedule, that's what they were planning to do. So, but then increasingly looking at the trend in the last 10 days, I think people are not satisfied with what is happening. So one of the key outcomes yesterday is 3 cover decisions have been declared. Now, when they say cover decisions, it means some draft text has been released, and this draft text covers the entire activities related to climate action. So cover means it covers the entire range of activities. So 3 documents have been released yesterday, which is very significant. And these documents have been released very late into the night. So I think we will, synthesize these documents tomorrow. But right now we have some of the responses coming from different people on this. Now, one of the declarations, is regard to adaptation funding. So already people are very upset about that not much, concrete action has been proposed in this cover decision. So we'll go to this analysis, after this. First, looking at the zero emission vehicles. Now, is zero emission vehicles possible? I think that's a question which is coming to all of us when we hear that word, zero emission vehicles. Now, many people said it's not possible because no car will be zero emissions ever because even while production itself, car production, the entire chassis and all the car, there itself carbon will be produced. So while using the car, probably by using non-fossil fuel as to run the car, I think emissions can be reduced. But people are saying zero emission is not at all possible. So people are puzzled why this is being pushed. In fact, there was one suggestion based on data. So in Germany, an average electric vehicle emits 302 grams per kilometer of carbon dioxide at the current electricity mix. So this was the estimate. And in comparison, the Ferrari F8 Tributo, that's with combustion engine, emits 263 grams per kilometer. So when you compare electric vehicle and then the regular combustion engine, in fact, the combustion engine emission is low. So people are saying, how does the electric vehicle emission be pushed as a solution? In fact, there are much more serious comments on that, but we'll not go into that. But there are other comments which came, voices been given yesterday. One, they say when for biofuels, when you are talking of emissions, vehicles, there is always this solution being given that biofuels should replace fossil fuels. So biofuels means fuels produced from corn, wheat, all other biologically from crops, basically from crops. So biofuels is a big economy in US and developed countries. So, but there is now a question, you want to use land, acres and acres of land to grow crops, and only just to burn them as biofuels looks stupid. In fact, this is food, corn is food, and there are a lot of hungry people who require food. So it looks stupid that, you grow crops and you convert that crop into biofuel and use it for vehicles. So I think this is again a chain, a process which is being questioned. So burning food for energy is not green and only increases increases the price of food because there is a competing sector for that food. So I think people are not ready to accept biofuels as a alternative to fossil fuels for vehicles. But there are groups, there are interests, economic interests, which are pushing this as one of the options. Now, second, there is this comment from George Monbiot. He said there's no economic or technological barrier to saving the life support system of our planet. It's just a lack of political will. So he is a very serious commentator who keeps writing in The Guardian on climate crisis and climate emergency. So he says there is no barrier for any solutions. He says it's only a lack of political will. But then critics of this person say he has reluctantly agreed that nuclear energy is one of the solutions for energy, reducing energy related carbon emissions. So being a nuclear proponent, his voice is being questioned seriously. So, but definitely, I think what we are seeing even in leadership summit on 1st and 2nd November at COP26 and before at a G20 summit and much before when we look at what is happening around the world and the announcements or speeches given by world leaders, political will seems to be very, very low or completely lacking among all the leaders. So the question is, how do we ensure this political will is ensured political will comes to take action on climate emergency. So one of the suggestions which we keep discussing is establishing a green political party. So a green political party should be able to push for agenda which is in line with the green future, also climate climate change. So all this box of concepts which are being talked about, I think there is a expectation that a green political party will be able to do that. But then when we look at the experience of some of the green political parties in Europe, we don't see much of scope for such parties in developing countries as well. But still, I think there are a lot more people who think pushing, creating pressure on political leaders is the only way we can get some good decisions from the governments on climate change. Now, with regard to covered decisions, as I mentioned, there are 3 covered decisions. There are some reactions which have already come in. Now, one reaction says, which is positive. It says this one of the covered decisions says it includes a call for countries to accelerate the phasing out of coal and subsidies for fossil fuels. And that's a big first for this process. So the Paris Agreement actually does not actually mention fossil fuels, and COP26 clearly mentions phasing out of coal and subsidies for fossil fuels. But then, people mentioned, the push for, phasing out coal and subsidies for fossil fuels is being thrust on developing countries rather than the developed countries and big emitters. So we have seen in the first few days of COP26 how Britain, say, has given a call for phasing out of coal, but Boris Johnson has been shown as taking a decision to open up a new oil and coal mines in Britain. So I think this, contradictory stand, this hollowed stand has been highlighted. So when this cover decision says we need to accelerate the phasing out, there are still doubting Thomases about how this decision will be implemented. Now, second, I think a major question which was underlying the entire COP26 deliberations is equity. The entire process, the values have not been focused upon. Basically, equity, justice, which is being pushed by protesters, climate change activists. So this draft cover decision, it does not refer to any of the principles enshrined in the convention. So with this, the language on net zero, to achieve net zero by 2050, implying that all countries have a responsibility to reduce emissions at the same pace, lacks equity because, the biggest culprits with regard to carbon emissions are developed nations like USA, and there are big countries like China and India. So putting all the countries on the same pedestal with regard to this phasing out is being seen as a injustice and a lack of reference to equity. Now, Bolivia has also slammed this cover text. So it says, this text assumes that nature is only in service of people's needs, but nature has an intrinsic value. It is sacred. That must be reflected. So nature-based solutions, which were talked in the text, was never negotiated here. So I think the impression from these cover decisions is that nature is only in the service of people needs. So there are others, international civil society is also slamming this word nature-based solutions because under this concept, governments are trying to push for a new colonial idea, neo-colonial idea, so that more land and forests can be occupied using this, concept of, creating net carbon sinks, enhancing removals, afforestation. I think the text within, which is there within nature-based solutions is being questioned, and because this the entire text is shorn of language of equity, language of justice. So people think, okay, this is more of a technological, and more of a global north solution than anything else, which is being pushed as part of this draft text. So in fact, there have been people who raise this question about loss and damage, adaptation. Countries have been raising this, but so far there has been no response from the developed nations on this. Now, I'll just show you a PowerPoint. So this is a scorecard which we have been using from Bloomberg Green. So there is a draft text urges nations to improve targets by 2022. So this ambition, call for ambitious goals, which was given a few years back, and then which was continued in the leadership summit. So this draft text continues that call and is asking all the countries to improve their targets by 2022. By next year, they want every country to improve their targets as part of the nationally determined contributions. Second, fossil fuel proposal, basically, phasing out fossil fuel. I think it has received some setback. We'll look at it when we try to analyze the draft text. Surprisingly, there is a US-China climate deal, which I think we need to see because the details are not yet available. Because, people thought, US and China are wrangling and they are at war with each other, words of war. I think so this deal is still a surprise. And this effort to end combustion engine cars has failed. I mean, this is what the scorecard is saying. So let us see how it has failed later. So carbon market rules, there is some progress as promised by John Kerry yesterday, because America, US is very interested in carbon markets, carbon offset trading. I think so. I think some progress has been reported there. Now, this, as I mentioned, equity is being questioned. This is the this is a text from the cover decision. So here we can see it includes all the nations as one, but we have seen in the last couple of days where IPCC report and this carbon budget, global carbon budget report, and many other reports, they show that all nations are not equal in terms of emissions. So when the hard decisions to reduce the emissions are taken, I think the responsibility is more on the countries which have been emitting carbon dioxide, methane, much higher than almost 60-70% of the countries. But then if you look at the entire text here, they don't do any differentiation between the parties. So this is being objected to by developing countries because they are the net receivers of the impacts and not at all contributors of this impact. So I think this sweeping every nation under one carpet is not good when we are trying to look at solutions. So I think this is being questioned. Probably the voices will become more strident today and tomorrow at COP26. So with in relation to electric cars, this is one picture which shows, which I also believe in, is that electric cars don't solve the problem. One, whatever car, when the car is produced, there's a lot of pollution which is going to be there, and through its life cycle, and even when it is discarded. That apart, this electric car is what it is saying is it will change the fuel from diesel and petrol to electricity. Now, the people have been pointed out earlier, even I will show on the next slide. Point pollution from the car might have reduced, but then the pollution is, net pollution is generated elsewhere where electricity is produced. So I think and then the number of vehicles, once the car number increases, I think this car-based electric car-based emission reduction, I think it's only a expectation rather than reality. So the more sustainable suggestions which are being given is about walking, cycling, and mass transport like trains, rail, or of course buses are not given, but trains are being given. So even buses come under mass transport. So these kind of solutions have not been referred at all, except talking about zero emission vehicles. I think that is we can see clearly. Now this is social media. This is the monitor which has come on COP26, where Twitter traffic has been mapped. So you can see from 4th November, this Twitter traffic has been mapped 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So you can see the decrease in the Twitter traffic across the dates, and by 10th November, it is decreasing. I think this is one indicator that the interest in COP26, even on social media, we leave alone other media, even on social media, it is continuously reducing. Now, this is the officially given data by COP26 presidency. So they are talking about which are the countries which have pledged to phase out registration of new internal combustion engines. So the targets have been given by different countries. So Iceland said by 2030 they'll completely phase out internal combustion engines. United Kingdom 2035, Sweden 2030. So most countries have given 2030 as the target year. But some have gone beyond, like France and Spain, they have gone to 2040. Singapore is also given 2030, Costa Rica 2050, Canada 2035, United States, California, it's at 2035. So these are the targets. Beyond that, as per this commitment, beyond that, in those countries, we will not be able to see internal combustion cars, only cars. This is about cars. Now, this is the overall schedule which I just wanted you to look at. We started, the conference started on 31st October. Then 1st, 2nd was World Leaders Summit. On November 3rd, they discussed the finance as a finance day. Then 4th, it was Energy Day. 5th, it was Youth and Public Empowerment Day. 6th, it was Nature Day. 7th being Sunday, it was a rest day. 8th, Adaptation and Loss and Damage Day. 9th, it was Gender, Science and Innovation Day. And November 10th, Transport Day, which we are discussing. And November 11th, today it will be Cities, Regions and Built Environment. On 12th, negotiations will be closed. Now, if you look at the subjects and the focus, we can see that a lot of the core issues related to climate change negotiations have been completely put off the table. So they did not come on table. And when people have been protesting on the streets, asking for concrete action, there is no response from the organizers. So that is very, very clear. Now, this is what the promise is about zero emission vehicles accelerating. So, now activists, climate activists, they did a lot of demonstrations on Glasgow streets, basically pushing the delegates to take action. So this is another method there. where they started projecting some of the messages on the dome of the blue zone where these negotiations are happening. So you can see the dome. Actually, officially, it is they have colored the domes and try to show a very beautiful dome. But these messages are being flashed yesterday and as a protest. So you can see this is a clash. This color projection was officially done, and then activists try to project a different text on the same dome. Now, this is interesting. Somebody found that behind the walls of the COP26 venue, diesel generators are being used. So when they are saying we want to have clean energy, the question is when you can't run a 2-day event on clean energy, how do you want to run the world economy on it? So this is the question being raised when someone saw these diesel generators. So I think this is very, it shows where this COP26 has faltered. So these are air conditioning units, the diesel powered air conditioning units. And further, I think we can see, sorry, I'll just stop. So because of, people started questioning how diesel generators are being used. I think yesterday, COP26 presidency, they issued a press release mentioning that this COP26 has been, maintaining carbon neutrality. So they are saying COP26 is a carbon neutral event. All carbon accounting is being carried out in line with the greenhouse gas protocol and will be published after the event. So they're saying some 40,000 registered participants are there, of which 22,274 party delegates and 14,124 observers and 3,886 media representatives are participating. They are also saying this is sustainability. So great effort has been made to ensure sustainability at the conference. So they are referring to food, because there has been criticism about what food has been served at the canteen. So they said 95% of food served at the conference is seasonal. So that means it did not come from far. And 95% is food from UK, with at least 80% of this coming from Scotland, where this conference is happening. So that means they avoided transport and refrigeration costs as well. So by calculating the carbon footprint of food served in the blue zone and displaying it on the menus, attendees can make sustainable food choices. So they said they have given those choices for the attendees to choose. And this is significant. They said they have used 84 kgs of locally harvested Mara seaweed, which is used as an entirely sustainable substitute for salt in dishes, requiring neither fertilizer, fresh water, nor soil to grow. So 750 kgs of Scottish berries were harvested and they were used. And even 250 kgs of Scottish honey was used. So drinking cups at the venue are reusable, saving of up to 250,000 single-use cups. So reusable and aluminum water bottles are provided to all participants, and water refill stations can be found throughout the venue. So they are seeing this on 10th November. Additionally, they have released some facts and figures which says at COP26 there are 25,000 pieces of furniture, approximately 7,000 square meters of carpet, 445 bins, 330 water coolers, 1,124 toilets and urinals, 515 freestanding hand sanitizers, 122 kilometers active fiber, 3 HB cameras, 5 TV galleries. But they did not mention about diesel generators and refrigeration powered by diesel generators. I think that we can clearly see. Now, I think we will look into these cover decisions in detail tomorrow. But what we are seeing is right now, questions are raised about what this contains and how sustainable management and conservation of world's forests are being done, and the decisions related to that. So that will, cover tomorrow. But today I'll just show you that the interview done by George Monbiot, who talked about basically political will. I think that I thought that that's very, very important interview, a short interview. You can just give me a minute. So I think it's clear. George Monbiot is saying whatever is happening or whatever has not happened is because of lack of political
We
will,
could not
and
see
he says,
anything, sir.
sorry.
We could not see the video or anything.
Oh, shall I run again?
Yeah, I will confirm if you are running again.
One second. But the voice is very low. I think
Hello.
yeah, I am just projecting.
Yeah.
You can see now.
Not yet. You again go to share and select the screen where it is playing. And also switch on the sound.
Now,
Not it. I'm only seeing that files folder. You can go to again share and then switch on the view while playing.
yeah, but that's what I'm doing. I don't know what's the technical
happened.
issue. 1 second.
Maybe you tell the essence and close. It is not playing.
Now,
No, sir.
I don't know, some problem.
Yeah, some problem is there. It's okay. You can continue, sir.
Yeah, so basically, I think his suggestion is people need to come out in millions and pressurize world leaders if we want a safe future for our children, and we want a climate emergency to be responded by the politicians. I think that is becoming clear when we look at the entire proceedings of COP26. Tomorrow we'll do a more detailed session on the covered decisions have been taken and what is the gap, in terms of what was the expected decision and what is the decision. I think a lot more despair is being seen across the media. What I'm seeing, because they even America, US is also disappointed because they see they did not want adaptation and finance to be mentioned so many times in the cover decision. So I think everyone is dissatisfied with the COP26 cover decision so far. So 3 of them. So the signs, the indicators of such lack of decision or lack of commitment towards climate emergency, we could see in the beginning of this COP26 conference. So today I'll stop here. Maybe tomorrow we'll do a more detailed analysis, and tomorrow and day after, because draft texts are just coming out. So I think we'll do a detailed analysis tomorrow. Sai Bhaskar?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
It's okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.